Hey love, so welcome back to my channel. It is Kedasar, and today I will be talking about how to reinvent yourself and become the person that you've dreamt of, the woman of your dreams or the man of your dreams, and learn how to finally embody all those traits that you admire in other people but haven't yet embodied in yourself. So many people think that their dream self is out of reach and that it's just embodied in other people, and they wind up idolizing other people, not understanding that becoming your dream self takes inner work, and the people who you're idolizing did work to get there as well. So there are steps that you can take to cultivate those traits within and experience the characteristics, the qualities, and the overall peace and happiness and joy that you think those people are experiencing. Quick disclaimer, I'm not telling you how to be perfect. You can embody all of these things and still have highs and lows, but this will help you feel more grounded and rooted in your purpose because you are living according to your higher version, which is what all of us aim to do in life. So I've broken this down into 4 steps. The first step to becoming your highest version and reinventing yourself is visualize what that highest version looks like. Envision your dream self and have a clear picture in your mind. If it's hard for you to envision yourself as your dream self, I would invite you to think of some other people that you admire and then place the qualities of them into yourself in the vision that you're holding. Once you have that clear picture in your mind, I want you to go into a space of identification. Identify their thoughts. What type of thoughts does this person have? What type of beliefs does this person have? Emotions, and what type of actions do they do? All around, who is this person? How do they feel? How do they think? How do they act in the world? How do they interact with others? How do they feel about themselves? So this is a practice that you can do more than one time where you're determining what does my higher version, who are they, right? And make a list and write these things down, because once you have them on paper, it's more easy to get this dream self that's just floating in the clouds out of the air and into a more tangible form. A lot of times it feels hard to reach that higher version because it just always feels higher, aka out of reach. But once you write it down, determine who that version is, now you have something to work with. Okay, we working with something here. We can look at the paper and see, okay, these are the qualities of my higher version. Okay, and then that takes us into step 2. So then you want to identify what are your thoughts, what are your beliefs, feelings, and actions/behaviors. Write that list down as well, and then you'll end up with 2 lists. One is a list of your higher version, what they do, who they are, how they feel, how they think. The other is a list of your current version. But I don't want you to think of these as 2 separate people. Just think of them as your current version and then the version that you're going to embody. Okay, so once you have those 2 lists, you can look at them side to side and see what the gap is. What is the space between where you're at now and where you want to be? And then we can start filling in that gap. Also, when it comes to what does your higher version do, I want you to also think about passions. What type of impact are they having in the world? What type of hobbies do they engage in? What type of job are they working at? These are all things to have on the list so it can become less of a dream and more of like, okay, this is doable, right? So write all those little details down so you can really get a clear picture of who they are, and then do the same for where you're at right now in your life. The third step is one of the most important steps, which is shadow work. We're gonna do shadow work to address the gap between our present moment beliefs and our higher version thoughts and beliefs. Okay, so you want to identify the beliefs you hold about yourself and the world around you, and essentially we're going to identify the limiting beliefs that are holding us back from becoming our higher versions, and eliminating the beliefs that are creating the undesired reality. Okay, because the basis of all things is your beliefs about the world. The beliefs create the feelings, they create the thoughts, and then they create the actions that you do, which continue to perpetuate your reality. If you feel like you're not worthy of abundance and luxury and fun and joy, you're going to believe that, right? That's the first thing. And then you're going to feel feelings of unworthiness, and then you're going to do things to perpetuate you to stay in that state, right? So if I feel like I'm not worthy of luxury, I'm going to do things that perpetually make my life harder. I'll give you guys a quick example. So where I live, they have a lot of really inexpensive taxis, but they also have these public buses that are also cheap, right? For some reason, I noticed that I held a limiting belief that I should only ride the cheapest options to save money. But it started being uncomfortable for me. It was hurting my back, and it just all around made me feel very uncomfortable to keep riding them. But I kept doing it for a while until I realized, wait, if I can afford these taxis, why am I putting myself in this position of this frequency that I don't feel comfortable in? Then I realized that it was an unconscious belief of unworthiness that led me to do that. So I quickly nipped that in the bud because I've been doing this work for a while. So it was pretty easy to just let go of that and just be like, okay, I'm calling in abundance now. Now I call in ease, I call in relaxation, and I don't call in any energy of having to work too hard when I don't, overwork myself, overstress myself. So that's just one example of how a deeply rooted belief of lack, or unworthiness, of, being stingy with your money, save, that created an uncomfortable reality for me, that led me to do an action and perpetuate that feeling that I don't deserve comfort, or that it's too expensive and I don't deserve that more luxurious lifestyle. So really examine what you feel you are worthy of at your core. Get down to the root of why you feel that way and rewire it. If you feel that you aren't worthy of luxurious things or things that cost a little bit more money, get down to why that may have occurred. Did it occur because your parents were always cheap and they wouldn't buy you anything if you asked, so you learned to just settle with the cheapest option, right? So examine all these things. I have a whole video on shadow work, by the way, that you guys can watch. And then once you get down to the root and rewire it with positive affirmations and visualizations of yourself receiving all the things you're worthy of, you will allow yourself to release energetic blockages that would keep you from those things, from the abundance of the life that you desire. So once we've done our shadow work, eliminated the beliefs that create our undesired reality, then we can begin to create and live out the routine of our higher versions now. Not in the future, but now, okay? One of the key things of this entire approach to up-leveling yourself is realizing that there's no time gap between you and your higher self. It's a mind gap. It's a mindset shift. So as soon as you determine who they are, you can just start living as them. Like, even if it feels weird at first, just start living like you're them, because you are. And that's what it takes, because if you really think about it, there's no real future. It's just you now. And if you keep putting it off to the future, it'll always live in the future. So you want to take what you've identified about who they are, what they believe, what their thoughts are, their feelings, and their actions, and based off that, create a routine for them. Create a morning routine. What type of actions do they do? How do they nourish their spirit? How do they nourish their mind? How do they nourish their body? In the morning, What type of things do they do to physically exercise? Okay, what type of things do they do to maintenance themselves, to take care of their looks? What type of things do they do to take care of their mind? Do they journal? Do they go to therapy? What type of things do they do to nourish their relationships? Do they actually pick up the phone when they're thinking about that person they care about? Do they actually send that text when they're feeling lonely and need support? Right? So all these things that you think they would do, just start doing them and you'll see things are going to start to shift very, very fast for you, and you're going to start showing your brain that, hold up, this is me now. This version that I've been dreaming of is me now, and your brain's going to start helping you do those things that you see your higher version doing, because now there's no difference between you here and your higher version, if that makes sense. You are embodying that higher version. So I don't want you to feel too much pressure. You don't have to do every single thing on the list, but the point is you are making that mindset shift to stop putting things off into the future and saying that this can be you right now. So even if you just do a few things out of that routine and add more and more every day, you're going to be living as your higher version. Like, that's as simple as it is. And just because it's that simple doesn't necessarily mean it's an easy process. This takes work. You have to intentionally decide to show up as that version of you every day. It takes a certain level of discipline, but it also yields so much more joy and fulfillment in your life, because now you're doing the things you're passionate about. Now you're nourishing yourself on more levels, right? So one more thing, we can break it down in one more way. So we're gonna look at it as an entire health spectrum. How does your higher version nourish themselves and their health? Mental health, spiritual health, social health, financial health, their passions, so that's like your joy, that's part of your health, and all of these aspects of your life. How does your higher version do it? Okay. And even if your higher version has a different career than you do now, you can still live as them and begin to take those baby steps towards going towards that career of your dreams, right? But you can still be them as you are going after your goals in life. Living as your higher version doesn't mean all of your goals are accomplished. It means you're actively pursuing them rather than letting them just live in your head. Okay, so that is pretty much all it takes to begin the steps of living as your higher version. But it is, like I said, an intentional process, and you'll learn more and more about what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and you'll just keep growing. It's a constant growth process. We are ever expansive beings, so even when you feel like you're living as your higher version, there's always going to be more room for growth and development. So don't ever feel like you'll be stuck at a wall or like there's a certain place to arrive to, because there's not. It's still a growth process, but the difference is you're growing from a space of authenticity and embodiment of who you really are. So that will be all for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Join the family. And until next time, peace and love.